And do you think with Suikoden 1 and 2 coming out, we could get Suikoden 6 later? The developers, when they interviewed the people who are remastering those games, they said that they had a lot of interest in creating Suikoden 6. So it's probably going to happen because those two remasters are going to come out. That's an interesting topic, you know. How will Suikoden compete with the Eiyuden Chronicle from now on? Okay, we all thought Suikoden was dead, but it wasn't going to come back. Konami didn't give a damn about the series anymore. It was dead. It was buried in the ashes, in the sand, 6 feet under. And then all of a sudden, some of the developers of Suikoden, you know, came as a surprise, you know, to announce that they were going to make a spiritual successor, which is pretty much the real Suikoden 6, right? And they launched a Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was overly successful. Millions of dollars, millions, man. So Konami, I'm pretty sure Konami took notice of that and said, holy shit, there is a lot of interest in Suikoden in the world. But, you know, these guys have them beaten right now. So what do? They decide to remaster Suikoden 1 and 2. And the remasters are going to be released around the same time Eiyuden Chronicle is going to be released. And that's not a freaking coincidence, is it? It's just not. So what's Konami's hurting? I mean, they know Eiyuden Chronicle is going to be probably a big release, and people have really high expectations about the game, so I hope the game doesn't disappoint. It looks badass, you know, what little they've shown, it looks really good. I'm pretty sure we'll get an official trailer, big, important trailer, probably next month in January, so they can hype people up. And then, you know, what's Konami gonna do? So, of course, when they asked Konami about the Suikoden remasters, the people who are in charge of remastering those games, you know, they said, oh, we're really interested in possibly developing a Suikoden 6. Yeah? Well, of course you are, asshole! You know, Eiyuden Chronicle is going to be a big success, and that's gonna hurt Konami. So of course they want to make a Suikoden 6 to compete and to grab people, to tell people, hey, no, come back to the real Suikoden, yeah, you know, come back to real Suikoden, you know, because Eiyuden Chronicle, no, fuck that shit, man, you know, here's your real Suikoden 6. But the majority of the original developers are no longer working for Konami. But, let me say this in their favor, if the developers from Suikoden 5 work on Suikoden 6, then we got hope in there. We got potential. We got potential, and I do hope that if Suikoden 6 by Konami ever comes out, I hope it's just as good as Suikoden 5, or at least 2, or even better. Because if they release a new Suikoden and it's not better or as good as Eiyuden Chronicle, then this time Suikoden will be dead for sure, forever. I'm interested in the Suikoden 6, but to be honest, I'm more interested in the Eiyuden Chronicle. That is the reality of the majority of people and the majority of Suikoden fans, because everybody hates Konami. Konami, it's gonna take you, man, a huge amount of effort to regain people's trust and confidence. Because for many, many years, you were the worst fucking video game company on the planet, next to EA, probably. So, if you're going to release a Suikoden 6, you better fucking make it a masterpiece, or it's just not gonna work.